I want to try and make a video that's a little bit different than anything I've been making in the past. Some of you may find it interesting. I'm sure other people are going to find it unbelievably boring and weird. And I'm sure there's quite a few people that are kind of going to be somewhere in between and don't really know what to make of it. And the reason I'm making it is I've been thinking about it a lot the last 2 weeks. It's something that I keep coming back to and I keep feeling this reason to make it. So I finally decided to sit down and really sketch it out and talk about it because it just feels important to me for some reason. Now you're probably sitting here wondering, what am I talking about? What is something that's so weird and different? And ironically, I'm talking about the Odyssey, the old epic from Homer. And if it sounds a little weird, just give me a few minutes. Let me tell you kind of the background, and you might understand where I'm coming from and why I felt it was important to share this. So, about 2, maybe 3 months ago, I saw the trailer for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. And if you've had the opportunity to see the trailer, I think it looks awesome. It's something I definitely want to go see in theaters when it comes out in about 2 weeks. Now, if you're anything like me, if you see a movie, especially by a director that you really like Christopher Nolan, and it's based on a book or something like that you can get, I tend to buy the book and either read it or at least skim it before the movie. That way I kind of have a general idea. So like anybody else, I went on the internet and I started looking up translations of the Odyssey. Now, the reason I was looking it up instead of just going right into Amazon and buying the Odyssey is because as I was thinking about this, I was reminded back to college when I kind of had read the Odyssey for the first time, and I remember it being so difficult. I remember not really enjoying it and feeling like a lot of the language was very alien. It was almost like Old English, and if anybody has had to read Beowulf before, it's a lot like that, where it's an oral tradition and a lot of the way that it's written is almost old-timey, for lack of a better term. And I remember having such difficulty with it that I actually ended up sitting in my dorm room reading it out loud, almost to myself, because it was the only way that I can make sense of it. Whenever I would read it, with just in my mind, as anyone else would, I would get it all jumbled. I would feel like I don't know what's going on, and it would drive me crazy. So I Googled a modern translation of the Odyssey, hoping that maybe it's up to date, something that's more normal. And what came up more than once was this version. It's translated by Emily Wilson. So I had purchased it, and in the 2 or so days that I was waiting for it, I kept looking up more about the Odyssey. And that's where things got weird, for lack of a better term. Now, as I was looking up more and more about the Odyssey, I did not realize that there was a huge controversy about it. I didn't realize that the deeper I went into this black hole, the more confused that I got. What I mean by this is there appears to be a large amount of people on the internet that don't agree on things. I know, shocker. People on the internet who don't agree on things. No. But this is a lot of people who do not agree on her translation of the Odyssey. They feel that it is not true to, I guess, the source material, and that in a lot of ways it has a lot of her own, I guess, biases or ideas. Now, I didn't know at the time one way or the other. So I said, this seems very controversial. Maybe I should get another version of the Odyssey. Maybe the one that I had gotten in college I found so difficult. Maybe now at 40 opposed to 19, I would view it differently. So I did just that. I got the Odyssey translated by Robert Fagles. And the more that I keep going down this rabbit hole, the more confused that I get, because I see all these people making these videos and they're so impassioned about which version is right, which version is wrong, and why you should read one or not read the other. And this brings me back to why I wanted to make this video. Having both of these now, having read through at least the first 100 lines of the first chapter in both of them, will I say that they're both a little bit different? Yeah, they're definitely different. Are they both largely similar in a lot of ways? Yes. Do I think that there is one version that is more true than the other? Now that's where I think it gets interesting, why I wanted to make the video. This is a perfect example of why the internet is full of trolls. Nobody has the original text of the Odyssey. It's an oral, epic poem that was handed down for centuries before Homer had written down the first copy. Now, we don't have this first copy. So, who's to say which translation is more akin to the original source material or not? No one. But there's plenty of people on the internet that are going to tell you this version is right or that version is right. And there's plenty of people that are going to tell you what to think. And this comes back to exactly what I wanted to talk about. Because after going down this rabbit hole, I felt very much like I was being told what to think before I even read the books, or having an expectation before I read the text for myself. And I think this happens a lot in society. This happens with books, with movies, with hobbies, with sports, with politics, with everything. We are told by other people on the internet, I know the irony, I'm making this on the internet, what to think and what to be enraged by and what to be enamored by. And the real question is, how many times have you taken the time to look at the material, the actual source material, compare them, and think for yourself? Is it okay that you might feel that this version is more true or something that resonates more with you than this version? Absolutely. Is it okay to think that both versions are great and you took different things out of it? Absolutely. Who do you have to justify it to? Absolutely no one. And this is the problem. We've gotten to this point where even somebody reading a translation for themselves can almost become a hot button issue. What I think is more important is not the people on the internet who are telling you what to think, whose camp to be in, but instead to make your own camp. If you have the time, read them both. If it's something you find interesting or important, spend the time and do that. If you don't, don't. Nobody's telling you have to read an epic poem from almost 4,000 years ago. I'm only doing it because I want to see the movie and I want to kind of be able to follow it around. I know the story a little bit, but let's be honest. It's old and I don't remember it that much. I got a lot of other things going on, like you do. So whenever you have something that you feel is important, something where clearly everybody's going to have an opinion, I would fight rushing to join somebody else's formed opinion, or these internet gurus who love nothing more than to get clicks and tell you what to think. Instead, take the time and think for yourself. That's all. That's all I wanted to share. It was something I thought was important. Are they different? Yeah. Do they evoke different emotions when I'm reading them, or different thoughts? They do. Do I find one better than the other? No, I find them different. Do I find one easier to read than the other? Actually, yeah, I do. Emily Wilson's is easier to read. I'll be completely honest with you. It's a little bit shorter. It's a little bit tighter. It's easier to read. But Robert Fagel's one, it flows more like poetry. So it's different. Take the time. Find something that's important to you. And instead of listening to the naysayers or the warhawks on something, figure it out for yourself. Have your own opinion. You'd be surprised at how, when you look further into it, you realize that a lot of these feelings that a lot of people have are just because they want controversy. When in reality, there really isn't much. It's just your own interpretation. Just take the time. This isn't just about books. It's about most of life. Give it a try.